Welcome back, vinyl community. Vinyl update time. What we're listening to: Bad Man Wagon, BMW. Celebrating the auto of choice of gangstas, bad men. 1981, recorded in the US, Miami, FLA. This one is sung by, just credited to Mr. Brown. It's actually a singer named Teddy Brown, pretty obscure one. Recorded 1981, as I said. This is produced by Fat Man Rhythm Section, which is kind of the brother duo, bass and drum duo of Ian and Roger Lewis, who are kind of the nucleus of the Inner Circle band, perhaps best known for the Cops TV theme song, Bad Boys. All probably know that song. They began in the late 1960s, went through various lineups. For a time, their lead singer was named Jacob Miller, and they rivaled Bob Marley in popularity in Jamaica in the late 70s. In 1980, Jacob Miller was killed in a traffic accident, causing the band to split up. The brothers Lewis, aka Fat Man Rhythm Section, relocated to Miami and began producing other artists, putting out they had their own sideline as credited as Fat Man Rhythm Section. They're large brothers. Bass and drum, kind of a lot of dub albums, many very collectible. There is a dub counterpart to this album, Mr. Brown's Bad Man Wagon. Very expensive, probably will never own that. I've actually had this on CD for years. I kind of made these covers myself, CDR. There's the dub counterpart. Fat Man Rhythm Section, Wagon of Dub. All the Fat Man Rhythm Section albums are pretty tough to find on vinyl, pretty expensive. And this appeared on the Top Ranking label. Kind of roots reggae with a bit of a dance hall flavor. Decent album. Finally picked that up on vinyl recently. A couple other reggae ones I'll show you right off the bat. I'm going to kind of split up some of my reggae finds into spotlight type videos. Helps me kind of put things in context a little bit more and kind of save more the one-off purchases for these vinyl finds updates. Found these two in a recent digging trip in the city. Reggae Goodies Volume 1 and Volume 2. These came out in the early 2000s from Basic Replay label in Germany. They are reissues of Roots Reggae Lovers Rock from the Wackies label, based out of the Bronx, New York, produced by Lloyd Bullwacky Barnes, one of the most noted producers of authentic reggae in America. Volume 1 is got the real roots burners on it. Got tracks like Basement Session by Joe Morgan. What else we got? Capture Lands, Stranger Cole, Casey White, Selassie, all longtime favorites of mine. Volume 2, kind of more on the lovers tip with the Lovejoys, Casey White again, the Chosen Brothers, all good stuff. I've had that on CD for years. I bought it kind of when it came out in the early 2000s. Found those two single LPs in the new arrival bins at a local shop. Had to pick it up. Nice price. Thrift finds. Actually had some luck the other day for the first time in a while, maybe about a month or so. Found another one by Tommy Rowe. I think this is from 1970 or so. Showed him not too long ago. Just kind of your standard ABC label. Just basic pop craftsmanship. I kind of have a soft spot for him. Late 60s pop. Found this one, Maze from 1983. Frankie Beverly on lead vocals. He's quite underrated, I think. Always quality from what I've heard from him. Capital. Looking fresh for 83 there. Just classic R&B, soul. I found an upgrade copy of this one. This is one I had already with a bit of ring wear. Just look at that gloss on there. Beautiful condition. Joe Jackson, Body and Soul from '84. Biggest hit on here is You Can't Get What You Want Until You Know What You Want. I remember that one. I think he was kind of going for a classic jazz cover here. And this one was a total blind buy. I ended up digging this quite a bit. It looked interesting from the cover. Walter Rein concept, Endless Possibilities. I can't find too much info about this guy. He had some other kind of guitar albums out there. This is kind of soft pop. I would compare this to the Free Design, groups like that. Maybe a more mellow Sergio Mendes in Brazil 66. More mellow, Brazil 66, I don't know. Anyway, that's on the, what is it? TAM Records label. About 1960, late 1969, 1970 on this one. Soft pop, kind of male and female vocals. This is a really nice kind of rainy day album. Really good for the fall weather that we're getting now as the sun comes out outside. So yeah, actually dug this one quite a bit. A pretty obscure one. Sometimes those blind buys pay off. And the thrift find I was most excited about, this was all from one stop at one store, was the one I was most shocked about was Funkadelic, Hardcore Jollies. 1976, Warner Brothers label. Of course, George Clinton, P-Funk Collective. Just straight funk on here, lots of instrumental sections, lots of shredding guitar, just wicked stuff. Found this in the bins. I was expecting the record to be absolute toast, but it's actually in shockingly good condition. A little sticker on there, and somewhere on here there was an interesting label. Find it. I think it was on the record itself. Yeah, it says Royal Navy, Hong Kong, China, Officers Club, I think it says. A little stamp on the label there. So this is apparently logged in some miles, probably could tell a story or two, but when I pulled it out, record is in surprisingly good condition for a Funkadelic album. So that was a pretty awesome thrift score. And the last thrift find I found was a comedy album. I don't really collect those, but I found this one. It's Dr. Bandolo. This is a comedy troupe record. These guys are, this guy here, Norm Groman, was a longtime TV weatherman on the local TV station, BCTV, now called Global. He's retired now, I believe. I think he's still around. But this guy here, Bill Reiter, was a longtime radio broadcaster. He started up a radio show in the late 60s that was the first to play strictly black music in Canada, apparently. Long-time radio broadcaster, huge music collection, TV commercial actor. He actually played the Sasquatch in a long-running series of Kokanee beer commercials. If you were around in Canada in those years, you would know those commercials. They were hugely popular. His catchphrase, "My little mugwump," was pretty popular for a time, and that was Bill Reiter in the suit. And on a personal note, I actually own quite a lot of records from this collection. He sold off some big chunks of it a few years ago, kind of like right before I joined the VC. I was buying collections. He was selling it through another guy. Almost met him a couple of times. I think I showed up to look through the records at this guy's house one time, and Bill Reiter had just left, having dropped off a few crates of records. First time I got into him, he had, I met the seller at a record fair. He had an entire table of nothing but reggae, which of course had me going crazy. And that was only a small part of his collection, not even kind of a focal point. So I found discovered many things through that guy's collection. The Black Merda LP I showed in my recent summer vinyl finds video. That was from his collection. Another one that I discovered through him was Open by Brian Auger and Julie Driscoll. Kind of jazzy R&B, soul. That was this is a reissue that came from his collection. Everything in his collection pretty well was amazing condition. Some of it was still sealed. He'd never gotten around to playing it. But I recently picked up a Canadian original of that album at a local antique store. Open on the Canadian Marmalade label. Really nice condition, really cheap. Another record store find. Gilberto Gil, Realce. This is from late 70s, Brazil pressing. This is him, kind of disco funk on here. He's got a Brazilian cover of Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry. Just nice Brazilian music there. Also on the same trip into the city, my David Axelrod collection took a big leap forward. First in the cheap bins, I found this one, which he produced, I believe. Yeah, produced. David McCallum, TV actor, best known for playing Ilya Kuryakin on The Man from U.N.C.L.E. TV series. Capital, this is 1966. He kind of conducts the band here. Covers of a lot of pop hits of the day, like Turn, 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 The In Crowd, A Taste of Honey, all those hits of the day, with production by David Axelrod and one or two originals mixed in there. Then I found, same store, same time, David Axelrod's own Songs of Experience, sequel to his solo debut, Songs of Innocence. Still missing that one. This is a 1999 reissue that was in the new arrival bins, basically mint condition. Sort of orchestral pop with some rock and jazz touches, kind of more cerebral than the more typical orchestral pop of the day. It's inspired by William Blake's books of poems, Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience. He did them as 2 LPs. And there was also a third one, Axelrod there, 1974, Heavy Axe. This is again a 1999 reissue, basically mint condition. This is a bit brighter and lighter in tone than Songs of Experience. He's got Cannonball Adderley production here, and covers of Stevie Wonder's Don't You Worry About a Thing, Carly Simon's You're So Vain, bit of funk and disco touches on there. So that is what I've got for you today, guys. Got at least another video's worth of new vinyl finds, so I'm going to kind of split them up, try and keep the videos a little bit briefer, and hopefully come at you a bit more often. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope everybody's doing well out there, and cheers. Take care.